So he said because if you megalgal this on Yom Tiv, you permit him mafresh challah. So Rashi himself asked, but we rule halacha that ein magbi and shumas ma'asos b'Yom Tiv. You're not permitted. So Rashi explained, since right, that if you make the dough, so the act of is what is the same. So therefore, since we see it's permitted there, right? So we made a differentiation. So we asked the question. I mean, the halacha is that if you don't prepare the earth for kisei adam, we don't allow you to slaughter. According to Beis Hillel, Beis Hillel says you make the dough here, right? Here, if you needed the dough, you made dough before Yom Tif, we allow you, right? Even though you could have been mafresh, because over here, because if the Torah is matir to make the dough, you're allowed to be mafresh, because otherwise you can't eat it. So it's not considered ochel nefesh. Therefore, we allow. But again, so why don't we allow over here to say, let's use the same rationale? Okay. So the answer is because you could eat it, because you could eat the bird. The Rashi says you could eat the oaf without kisei adam. You slaughter, it doesn't interfere with ochel nefesh. So you have simchas yom tiv. Here, if you're not mafresh the challah, interferes with simchas yom tiv. You can't eat the bread. So once that's permitted, this is permitted. But Abu Dishmul says differently, right? Abu Dishmul says no, that since you could have done before, we don't allow it. So what was the machlokis? What was the machlokis? So he said the machlokis was that in terms of, let's say, kisei adam, over there, we asked another question. According to Rashi, what's the reason why you can't? Decker notes, unless it was slaughtered, why can't you take the Decker out, slaughter it initially if you have the spade in the ground? Because it's mekalkel. Just a review. So we asked the question, but mekalkel for ochel nefesh is permitted, right? If you slaughter, Beis Hillel allows you, because it's mekalkel. So l'chatchila, you should be able to remove the spade. Right? Why do we make differentiation? So we said the halacha is that if you have a barrel, and the only way you get the food out of the barrel, you smash the barrel, you're permitted to smash the barrel, because it's mekalkel. Right? Because that's the way you get the food. Over here, so why can't I be slaughter l'chatchila to be mekalkel for the same reason? Because we see, once you slaughter, we allow you to be mekalkel. So l'chatchila we should see, you can be mechalik. What do you mean mechalik? You'll differentiate. Because there, the mekalkel is directly related to the ochel nefesh. To the achila, you can't get the food unless you smash the barrel. Here, so you'd say also, if I'm not going to let you slaughter, if you can't be mekalkel, so it also interferes with simchas yom tiv. So we made a differentiation. When you smash the barrel, it has no relevance to the melacha, right? It's an act of mekalkel, destructive. But by kisei adam, if you would need the whole, what would it be? It would be an act of tikkun. It would be a ma'aseh binyan. Therefore, it's only because you don't need it, that's why it's classified as mekalkel. Over here, when you mafresh the challah, right? Hafrashas challah, what is it? It's near kimisakin. It has assembly. In this situation, it's purely rabbinical. Because we're concerned, if you do this, you may do something else, right? Makapatish is permitted. People confuse it. But in fact, it's not makapatish. So therefore, as a result of that, we allow you to make the dough, right? Although you're going to have to be mafresh for ochel nefesh, we allow you. Now the question is, if you megalgal these before Yom Tiv, do we say, since in fact it has no relevance to the melacha, in its sense, it can never be the melacha, therefore even if you could have done before, we allow you. But by kisei adam, what's kisei adam? It's much more chomer.
It's connected.
What?
It will be connected.
Because there, it's the melacha, and without we don't allow for what? For simchas yom tiv. Because we see according to Beis Hillel, we don't allow you to slaughter it, to take the spade out, even though the spade was in there before the shechita. That's what we said until now. Okay, let's see Tosas.
Rashi doesn't even give that swara. Rashi just seems to leave it at the fact that we see Yom Tov allows you.
No, he says he was mechalv you simchas yom tiv, not simchas yom tiv. He says because if you're not mechased adam, it doesn't interfere with simchas yom tiv. But if you're not megal these, it interferes with simchas yom tiv. But Rashi made an equation. He said, what's the reason why, even though he could have been mafresh before yom tiv, why do we allow it? Because we see that you allow to what's his name, to be Megalgalisa, and be Mafresh on Yom Tif. Say also, what's the with the post facto? He slaughtered. He slaughtered, but he slaughtered Erev Yom Tif. So we say, since you could have been Mechaseh, we don't. But over there, on Yom Tif, also, right? Post facto, if you slaughter on Yom Tif, even though you shouldn't have slaughtered, and it doesn't interfere with Simchas Yom Tif, but he still allows you to cover it, for the sake of a mitzvah.
But they never allow you to Chakila.
I understand it, but here's the same idea. He already slaughtered before Yom Tif. He slaughtered already. He wasn't Mechaseh Adam.
No, I was saying by the Chala, L'Chakila basil says.
I understand that. I understand it's a b'di'evet. But why over there is but it plays into the same, but that's the rationale. It's only b'di'evet because, in fact, it has relevance to the melacha. It's only not the melacha because of what's his name. Right? That's what I'm saying. So therefore, post fact, if you slaughter on Yom Tiv, we allow you to do it. L'tzarech the mitzvah. Even though it's not Simchas Yom Tiv, right? You're permitted to eat the bird, whether you cover the blood or not, but we allow it. But if you slaughter it before Yom Tiv, we're not going to allow. Why not? Manavshach. But the mitzvah is at stake. You're not going to be able to do a mitzvah kisei adam. So I'm saying because there's this differentiation. We're more makel in regard to parshas challah, because parshas challah in its essence, you could never be in violation of melacha by being mafresh challah. Because there it's only near a kimasak. It has a semblance of perfecting. So we're concerned with something else, somewhere, not this, what you're doing here. Let's see Tosas. Tosas brings Rashi. Gilgul Lisamer of Yom Tiv, Mafresh Challah b'Yom Tiv, Pirush Rashi, Davagav the Magbin Shumas and Maisus b'Yom Tiv. It's a Mishnah. You're not permitted to tithe Shum and Maiser on Yom Tiv. If you have Tevel, V'anamik Shumas Dog and Dami Yoshu Yochel Hafresh Mer of Yom Tiv. He could have been Mafresh before. Domiyesvel Hischil was Man or Hafresh. If already was dough, he could have tithed the dough from before Yom Tiv. Did none. Memasai Chiyuv Chalo. When is the Chiyuv to take Chalo to Mafresh Chalo? Mishagilgul, once you make the dough. So that if the dough already was prepared before Yom Tov, you could have afilu hochi mafrishin. But why? Shel gozal trumas isa sheri mutal legalgal b'Yom Tov. V'lefos they lechol paschamo. Since Chazal allowed you, the Torah allows you, even though you could have baked the bread before this, tasting that bezom and olive, bezom and bez, ochel nefesh. We say any melacha you could have done from Yom Tov, the Torah doesn't allow on Yom Tov. So you could have baked before, you could have slaughtered before. The answer is because it's not as fresh. The day's bread is more fresh than before. So therefore, the Torah allows you to make the dough and to bake it on Yom Tiv. V'ozmuta l'hafish mena chalo came shib Yom Tiv nilusha im keilo yafroshes chala bichlal isa hagbos truma. V'afil k'shegilgul membo yom. Therefore, even though it was the chalo was before and he could have, nevertheless we allow it to go through because this act is permitted. So the question is, so this act is also permitted. The act of kiss is permitted when post facto he shechts. It's also permitted.
Okay.
Right? So Rashi himself said, because it's Simchas Yom Tiv. There you can't eat the bread unless you tithe. Here you could eat the meat, even if you're not Mechased Adam. So you have to go back. So what about if it's slaughtered on Yom Tiv? Right? You could also. Right? So you have to different, because you could have done before, therefore we see it differently. Od Yishlam Lefiru Shalmi Necho. He's according to Shalmi, it's very good. Gomer Halisha Erev Yom Tiv. He didn't finish doing the kneading. He didn't fully knead the dough. Even let's say you loosely, it's loose, the dough is loose. You didn't make it into a thick batter. You could be mafresh, but the kneading, the gilgul wasn't completed. Lo yochel lafish mojom shishas gilgul mikol mokom ach shenigmar alisha b'Yom Tiv hava lekilu nasus kol alisha b'Yom Tiv. You see it after the Gemara. Even though at the preliminary stage of Lisha, you could have, but it would have been like a b'di'evid. Right. But so he continued kneading, Sherigilu shel hafresh chalo ad Gemara Lisha. Ulolam hafroshes chala b'chlal bos truma. No, so we say hafroshes chala. So when we speak about over here, the Yisur that he was megalgmir of Yom Tov, you could be mafresh. It's because the Gilgul, according to Yerushalmi, the kneading was completed on Yom Tov. It's not, so really factually, if you have a completed kneaded dough from before Yom Tiv, it goes into the Gzeiro, you're not permitted to touch Truma Meiser, according to this. Okay? This is Yerushalmi. U'l'olam hafroshes chala habichal ha'gbos Truma, which is not permitted. Heicho do yilahafresh mi esvon, avo lo motzi, stop. Avo lo motzi l'meimah. He says, but you can't say that here. Why? Lochi Michal ben Kisui, Mishum Gabi Kislo, Mimno Misimchas Yomtiv, Den Akisim Akiv Achilo, Ava Rosh Hashanah Akiv Achilo, the Zeido, Do Mairi Hocha B'chutzlores, Kidome B'somoch. See, Satos says before, we had a question. When he said the halacha, he is this chutzlores, because that's what he wanted to say originally. It seems to be, this is what Shmuel's arguing with his father, right? So we're speaking about here. We're speaking about when it says if you magalis merev yom tif. What's the reason we're saying you're allowed to be mafish? Because we're speaking chalos chutzlores. We allow you to eat it and just leave over without kriya shame, right? That's it. The Mairi Hoch Chutzlores Kidom Besom Kein Ochel Vakach Mafish the Mashmid Lekaman the public Bezeh. Right, the Gemara says, Lempli the Shmuel Advu Dom Shmuel Chaz Vachem Omrav Milo Mod Shmuel Shim Korel of Shem Shar Sur Lezorim. Upetzev the Pirush the time the Rabbi Meir Chutzlores Lo Merzik Misakin came Shablavoch Yochlecho Ertso Mod Rabo. Near the Mashim Besomoch, Loshach Klal Lomer Zeh Hatam, to come Milo Modi Shmuel Shem Korel Hashem came Shem Chal Le Merzik Misakin, Mashim Fialoshin, the Svoros Upshuto, Kachnir Iker, Kid Omeleel, Afil Bertso Mati Rabbo, Vavu de Shmuel, Osur, Afil Chutzla Tedo. Let's leave this right now. Because it's rabbinical. Chutzla is rabbinical. Ertso, it's a Doraisa. So therefore it's considered bona fide tevel. It's bona fide untied, you're not permitted to eat it.
So that's the distinction.
Right.
Geographic rather than...
Right. Okay, let's go further.
Rather than time, the geography separation.
Beishami
So it's still your Shalmi that's saying that?
Yeah, we'll stick to the way Rashi learns. Beishami Omei Melicheles Asula Mishovach L'Shovach. You're not permitted to take the ladder from one coop to another. Separate coops. Each coop has a number of, like, windows. Aval Mateo Michalon Lechalon, Beishamai says, but you could actually tip the ladder going from one window to the next. It's not you just carrying the ladder. Carrying the ladder, the Gemara is going to say, because it looks like he's going to pitch his roof. But still not here. He still says not a problem. So the question is, what kind of ladder are we speaking about? Rashi says, are we speaking about a ladder which is a coop ladder? It's specific use, or it's a regular universal type ladder. Use it for many things. See Rashi. The Havmin is bad, even though the sulam, the ladder, is specifically used for coops, and it's clear that when you carry this ladder, L'kach niku shel shovach v'tamid beishamai, Yimul, tamid beishamai, the Asri before she begins more v'avagav shuhu, bo lito goes also simcha yomtov, even though he's carrying the ladder to take the chicks. Right, each nest has its own partition, has its window. Okay? Omar Rav Chonon Bar Ami, Machlokes B'Shusar Rabbi. What's the machlokes? You are not permitted because he carried the ladder in a public area, so people see. The Bishamei Savri Horo Omer Latir Gagu Tzorich. He's going to actually, latich means to strain. Now, Rashi explains, in those days, the roof had to be pitched. Otherwise, when it rains, it would actually sit on the roof, the water. So you go and you get some cement, and you make like a little bit of an incline so the water should run off. So people say, where is he going? And this is something people have to do every once in a while. He's going to fix his roof. Latiach means to grade the roof, to grade it. Okay? Shovcha Muchiacholov. See Rashi. Haroeshu Malicho Omer Latir Gagu Tzarch Vochi Oseh Melochem Yomtiv. Latir Shoyu Tochen Gagusem Betit. That actually they would grade their roofs with cement. Fishloi B'Shupoim, because the roofs weren't naturally slanted. El Asuyin commit Tikras Aliyah was like a regular tikra, like a upper story and a second story. B'Shtabshim Hen, and they would use it. Lefichoch Tochen Osom. They would cover it, smear it with cement, and they would actually, the pitch would go towards the wall, so the water would run away from the house, run off the side of the house. So the water should run off. Meaning, the ladder we said in the Havim, we're speaking about, it's a ladder that's used for coops. So if it's coop ladder, people are going to say he's taking the coop ladder to go grade the roof, to create the pitch. So Rav Chana Barami says the machlokes of Shusharam will people see, and because they'll misperceive it, that's why Beis Shammai says it's not permitted. Okay? But if we private domain where nobody sees, so the person knows what he's doing. He's not going to do anything wrong. So there's no marasayin. The whole idea is marasayin. So Marias Kavor, Omer Rav Yudah Marav, famous Gemara. Omer Rav Yudah Marav, Komoksha Osh Chachom Mibnei Marasayin. Whenever the issue is marasayin will be misperceived, even in the privacy, in the inner sanctums of one's house, nobody sees, it's not permitted. It's a low plug. Because we say you never know. You never know. Rashi, V'omer Rav Yudah Marav, V'kashet the Rav Chonon, V'avagav the Rav Amoru. How could you go ask a question on Rav Chonon? Barami, Rav is an Amora and they're both Amorim. One Amora could disagree. You say even Chedrei Chadorim, he says no Chedrei Chadorim may be permitted. We're quoting Rav. So Rashi, V'avagav the Rav Amoru, Makshi Minei, Mneisha Rabban Shokol B'nei Agol, Lahoyo, Bedor Chutz B'Shmuel. Here, he was considered the leading Torah sage of his generation. Now it's interesting. Usually the Gemara says, the Gemara will ask Kasha and Rav sometimes. The Gemara says Rav Tanu Polik. The Rav had the status of a Tana. He could argue with a Braisa. He had that was his status. But over here, it says Rashi says, what are you asking on Rav Chonon Barami from Rav? Rav is an Amoras. He says, he should say Rav Tanu Polik. Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi that he was the leading Torah sage of generation, therefore you can't argue with him. So the answer is Poshet. When you ask a Kasha Rav from a Braisa, from a Tana, Rav Tanu Polik, he's of equal standing. He could argue. If I have a leading Torah sage and you're third rung, you can't argue. So therefore, he's Rav Shokol, that's the reason why you can't argue with him. You understand what I'm saying? You only have to classify him as a Tana when the question is from a Tana, from a Bryce of a Mishnah. The question is not, how could you say what you're saying with the leading Torah sages differently? You can't argue. It's interesting, there's a Ritva. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, quotes a Bryce, that person goes Esa Shiloh, first parak. That person goes Esa Shiloh, and he gets a psak, it's Osir. You're not permitted to go ask the Shiloh afterwards, even though the person you're going to is greater. Even if the person going greater, who gives you a psak of heter. If the lesser person says osir, you're bound to that ruling. It's osir. Even though afterwards you went and asked someone else and said permitted, it's still osir. So within the Ritva says in Avodah Zarah, what would be if you know that if you go to the great person's mutter, the lesser person, if he'd be aware of the great person's psak, he would retract. Because he's subordinated to the greater person. There's no question. Then you could accept the psak of mutter. It's only because the lesser person, he's adamant about his position. But if you would know or presume that there's no question he would retract from his psak because of the greater sage's psak ruling, then the halacha is you can follow the ruling of the second person even though it's lenient. So it's only because the first one's remaining in place.
Does it only work if it's prohibited?
No, you want to be machmi, you can be machmi. To be lenient, to be permitted. No, first one said okay. You want to be machmi. You don't have to go to someone else. You can say forget about it. I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's your prerogative. Here's going the other way, lakula. Okay. So Mara asks, so how could Rav Chonon Barami say the machlokes of Mushus Rabim, Beis Shammai Hillel? Rav says it's even Chadrei Chadorim, it's not permitted. On that, the Mara answers, Ika de Amri, excuse me. So Mara says Tanoi. This Shiloh is a machlokes Tanoim. So once it's a Tana, so now it's not. I'm pitted against Rav. Rav Chonon Barami is not pitted against Rav. He's following a Tana, a Braisa, the Tanya. Now, a person goes and gets himself drenched in rain, and you want to go hang up your clothing to dry out on the clothesline. So when you see clothing hang on the clothesline, what do people think? You'll launder them today. So to do it in public, in the public eye, definitely marasayin. What about to hang it up in your backyard, which only you know, or your family knows, and the family knows why they're wet? Right? That's the shiloh. Right? That's equivalent chedrei chadorim. Everybody agrees publicly, in the public view, you're not permitted. What about b'chedrei chadorim? It says Tanya shotchem b'chamo. You're permitted to spread your clothing, hang out in the sun to dry. Avalo keneged om. But you're not permitted to hang it in the presence of the people. The people see clothing hang on the line. Reb Lozer, Reb Shimon, Oser, they don't differentiate. Whether it's public view or not public view, it's not purpose. What's the machlokas? There's the machlokas. Do we say something which is Oser Mishum Marasayin, Afi B'chedrei Chadorim is Oser? And that's Reb Lozer, Reb Shimon. Tanakama says no, it's only Keneged Om. Keneged Om would be permitted. So if that's the case, Rav Chana bar Rami is going according to the Tanakama. Finished. Rashi. Tanoi, ikatanu dekoi kavose, shotun chama, mishenoshu kelev b'mayim. Person, his clothing fell into water. They make sure he was drenched with rainwater. Shotun b'chama vein nogvin me'aleim. Right, he hangs them in the sun and they dry out from the sun. Avalokan egadom shalayomro kipson hash. For Shabbos, people say he launders his garments on Shabbos. If he hangs it out, the clothesline is in public view. Alma mide almo. So you see, anything with the issues marasayin, it's permitted in a concealed location. Okay? There's a shach, there's a halacha. You know, when the shach says that there was a minhag in his time. They would puree almonds, and it was almond milk, but it looked like milk, and they would serve it as a delicacy together with chicken, and people would dip the chicken into the almond milk. But if you wouldn't know it's almond milk, you think it's milk. So Rama says what you have to do is you have to take the shells of the almonds and put it around, that people should know that this liquid is not milk, but it's almond milk. Okay? So there's a question with the Shach, they don't answer the Ramah, because over there we're talking about it's only Osam Drabanan. It's only Osam Drabanan. So it's only Osam Drabanan. We don't say what's Osam be Shemar Sayin, Shusarabim, Afil Chedrei Chadorim Zosam. Right? So over there, why do you have to put the almonds, the shells around the almond milk? First, the Basa of Becholav is Drabanan. It's Drabanan, it's not a Doraisa. Milk and meat. You cook chicken in milk. Right? It's only something that's lactating. An animal that's lactating, there's nisabos b'cholav. Because it says l'sfashu gedi b'chalev imo, the milk of its mother. A bird doesn't have milk, right? So therefore, b'chlal it has no shadows.
You might think that he is.
No, but the malacha you're doing is what's his name? Is binyan. That's the difference. There, I mean, you say he ate milk and chicken. Therefore, what? So this drabanan. What they're going to be choshi is this drabanan. Chedrei chadorim, they didn't go that far, right? Just give me 2 seconds. Just have to go out for a second. pipe and you have like weeds or reeds growing into the pipe, it blocks it, and the water can't go through. So it says, "B'chedri chadorim," speaking, are you permitted to take your foot and to open the passage so the water should flow through the pipe? So over there also it speaks of a person who needs milk and is permitted to suck directly from the udder of the cow or the kid on Shabbos. You're not allowed to milk. Milking is mefarik. Right? So the question is, 1 second. 2 seconds.
Are you working with?
Yeah. Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. Hago, Ramo. There it is. It's Pei Zion. Ramon Gimel. Sif Gimel. V'nogo lasus cholov b'shkedim. Shkedim almonds. They make milk out of almonds by pureeing them. U'minichem bo boserof. They dip it. There's a dip. They dip it in here. It's like tchina. Yeah, I know, but then it wasn't prevalent. Okay? It's like tchina. Okay? Except this looks like milk. Hovei nerak midrabanan. He says only midrabanan. Aval bosa behemo. Yesh lo niach etzla cholov shkedim. If it would be bosa behemo with bosa b'cholov since the raiso, then you have to put the shells around. B'shomar sayin. Kamo shemvur leo simin samach vov linyan dam. Okay, see the difference. If it's chicken, which is only strabanon, we're not concerned. But if it would be basa behema, even though it's the privacy of your house, it's also mishamar sayin. Okay? So over here, 1 second.
It is even the privacy of one's home.
1 second. Yeah. So he asked from the Gemara Beitzah, it says over there, where you have what's his name, a pipe which is blocked. It says, "Memachon, afil midi drabonon, chayshin marasayin, v'chimash beduch dituva." That even something which is drabonon, because he's over there, he's using klachayad, he's using his foot to push it away, it's not permitted. Okay, so over here,
Isn't Shabbat or Yom Tov?
Shabbos. 1 second. So over here he says, Ein shach shehevi marshal, v'yiskim imod mishum dafil midraban chashinon l'marsayin kishav avabishu pokuk fines the any maven hasagosam al ramoklau. He says he doesn't understand the question. The Ramo says that it's the privacy, since it's only Shrabonim, there's no problem. They ask from all these places, you see, over there it says that you're not permitted to go to the market with an animal with its bell around its neck, right? Even though it's this Drabonon, and even though you're doing, she says, 1 second. The Vare gam Ramo Mode da fil Jabon Chayshin Marasayin Kivur become a duchti Achaim Davke Mrs. Essay Marasayin Gomer Shu B'fnei Roin Mashin Hocho the Marishim Vasho Beisum Echshash Lesor. Where is it? Rak Mishum do Kaimelon Komok Shos Chachom Mishmitz Essay Afil Chedshech Ador Moser. He says like this. That we say, over there, all the cases we're bringing, a person is going to market with a bell around its neck. So what people are going to say, right? Although it's an Nis Drabonon, Mekach Memkaz Nis Drabonon, doing business on Shabbos or Yom Tov, it's Drabonon. But if people will suspect you, even though it's Nis Drabonon, you're not permitted to do it.
I'm sorry, what's the connection with the bell?
A person wants to walk with his animal. The animal's not muktzah on Yom Tov, with a bell around its neck. When people, they would go to market, they would have the bell because the bell would clang. So it says, even if he stuffs the bell, that it doesn't make noise, you're not permitted to walk in a public area with the animal that way, because Marasayin.
Does it look like he was going to market?
Right. So the question is, but it's only Istrabonon. The Ramah differentiates. If it's Chadri Chadorim, since it's only Istrabonon, you don't need any hecker. You don't need a hecker. Ramah doesn't say Chadri Chadorim. He's talking about it. You eat in your house, and you have a dip, you have the pureed almonds, you don't have to put shells. But if it would be meat, since if you cook milk and meat, it's Nisdoraisa, there you have to put the shells of the almonds. So he says, but what if it says that if you take an animal to market, even if the bell the clanger is not going to clang against the bell, you're not permitted because of Marasayin. So they ask, you see, Marasayin is also Drabonon. Even by Nis Drabonon, it's not permitted. That's the question. Or it says that when you have the pipe that's stuffed, even though when he removes the reeds or the weeds, it's kalachayat, it's Drabonon, you're not permitted to do it. Not permitted to do it. So he says that you're not permitted to do it. Speaking of what you did in Istrabonon, where people see it. The Gemara is not talking Chadri Chadorim. The Ramos Mechal Chadri Chadorim, if it's done in the privacy of your home, what is this the right with nobody knows but the person himself. Even though nobody sees it, if it's Drabonon, we permit it. It derives all the examples that are given. Let's say the case Misha Noshu Caleb b'Shabbos. Your clothing became soaked with rain. Now you want to hang it on the clothesline. In public, you're not permitted. In private, you're not permitted. It's Rav. I feel Chedrei Chadorim. Why? Because what are people going to suspect you? That you laundered. Laundering is this Doraisa. Over here, Boser Cholav with oaf, with a bird. We rule, not like Rabbi Yosef Glida. Rabbi Yosef Glida says Nis Doraisa. We rule it's Nis Drabonon. Since Nis Drabonon, the Chedrei Chadorim, it's permitted. Wait. He quotes Tosas. He says, "No, Kain quotes the Tosas behedjim b'subas daf samach dafilu bechedjik osir zeinu elab midi sharo yachshedu she'ovi yisidoraisa." That's Tosas says. Avon yachshedu she'ovi mil Drabonon lo ayin shom chenu piskei Tosas per kamad davarizora simin yudalit im kei lo kosher midi mishas. The man's walking in public, in a public view with the animal with the bell around his neck. Even though his family watches a meeting, why? Because why? They know factually it's almond milk, it's pureed almonds. They know it's not milk, right? If they wouldn't know, said he'd suspect. The almonds is milk, but since the family knows, it's not a question of Marasayin. He says it seems to be from the Ramah. The reason why they were asking that even if it's a public feast, when not everybody knows, so that's the case. But say Marasayin midrabanan, you permit it. It's not permitted. I mean, it's difficult to understand. To say that even to understand the Ramah is talking about in public view. There's no Marasami in Isra Abona. But basically that's what he's saying, the way he's answering the question. The Ramah is speaking in the privacy of home. That's the reason why B'chedrei Chadorim is mutter. But if it would be in public view, then of course it would be us. That's a regular case of Marasayin.
I just wanted to clarify. I thought he's saying if you're eating the meat of the Emor, you have to do it.
Because that's mitzvah d'oraisa.
But after this, the rice is only cooking.
It doesn't make a difference. They gave Basar B'cholav, they made all kinds of xeris, they gave it the same status. Like, because it's inevitable you're going to come to cook. That's the reason. Okay. So the Emor wants to say Tanoihi. And we rule that what? Ikad Amri, another version of this. Another version of this. Ikad Amri, Omer Rav Chana bar Rambam Machlokes b'Rishus HaYochid. Machlokes b'Sham Yisrael is even Rishus HaYochid. B'Sham Yisrael Rabbi Yehuda Marav. Beishamai follows the halacha Rabbi Yehuda Marav that afil b'chedrei chadorim, that even though it's in the privacy, nobody knows, only the person himself, and he knows what he's doing. He's going to retrieve other chicks. But since if somebody would see it, theoretically, they would say he's going to pitch his roof. Beisila leslu Rabbi Yehuda Marav. Therefore, it's permitted. Al b'shus harabim, but b'shus harabim, divrei hakol also, there's no, even Beisil would agree you're not permitted, because that's full-blown marasayan. Someone asks, "Leim Rav domek Beishamai." So we're saying Rav is going like Beishamai. The Beishamai doesn't permit it, even the privacy in the privacy of your home. You're transporting the ladder. So it comes out Beishamai. Rav goes like Beishamai. It's not according to halacha. So someone asks, "Leim Rav domek Beishamai?" No, we're Tanoi. It's machlokes Tanoi. The Tanyo shotchum mechama v'lo keneged. Right. So therefore, according to Tanakama, when is it not permitted? Only public view. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon Oisher, and the Yasid makes no difference. So Rab is not following Beishamai, but he's following the Tanakama. He's following the Tanakama. Excuse me. He's following, the Tanakama. He's following Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shimon, right? Rab is following Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon, not Beishamai. What the difficulty is, Stam, you have to understand. We'll see Rashi. The halacha is known whenever there's a machlokes tanoim. You have the opinion you rule like, the opinion you don't rule like. But the opinion you don't rule like still has a standing of an opinion. The Gemara says Beisham Mokum Beisil ain't a Mishnah. When Beishamai argues with Beisila, it's like they don't exist, right? You understand what I'm saying? Whenever there's argument, we have the Tanakama and Rebbe Elazar and Reb Shimon, like we said also. Kedai Reb Shimon lismochel b'shas adchak. The Gemara says in Gittin, you rely on Reb Shimon b'shas adchak, even though we don't rule like Reb Shimon. But if they have no way out, he has some halachic standing. Beisham mokum beisil ain't a Mishnah. It's nothing. I'll give you an example. The story the Mishnah says in Brochus from Tarfin, right? Machlokes, what's a shachmuk mechel? You have to recline at night, and it'll be upright during the day. Beisil says no, has nothing to do with posture, right? B'shach means at night. B'kumecha means day. But the posture means nothing. Reb Tarfon wanted to be machmal Beishamai, and he reclined. So he was nearly killed by bandits. Meaning, it's ain't a Mishnah. You understand? It's like you're creating your own fiction over here. So the verse says, Rav holds like Beishamai. It's like you hold like nobody. It doesn't exist. And that the verse says, no, it's machlokes tanoim. Rav, and since Rabbi Elazar and Reb Shimon are this, he's concurring with them. It's not he's holding like Beishamai. Okay, let's see Rashi.
So we're saying Beishamai doesn't have a standing where the others do?
Yes. When others argue, Tanam argue, even though we rule like, let's say, one opinion versus the other person still has a standing in the presence of the one. It's called a dissenting opinion. Beishamai, it's like he never stated his case. We only mention Beishamai to be able to understand Beisila. But in terms of his own right, he has no value whatsoever. The position of Beishamai. It's referred, Beishamai Mokum Beisila ain't a Mishnah. It's like, it was never said, it's like you have a Mishnah that's a corrupted Mishnah. It's called Shubeshes.
Even though the time of Mashiach, everything is going to be upheld, right?
Do you ever see the source for that?
No.
Okay. I once saw this, I asked them, made that comment, somebody brought me something from some sefer, which, I don't know who the sefer was, it said, it cited that, quoted that. When Mashiach comes, we're going to follow the position of Beishamai. Because usually Beishamai is more stringent.
I heard that quote many times, I assume it was Chazal.
That's not a Chazal, for sure not a Chazal. No. It's from something, maybe a Zohar or something. say, because today, we're not at a level that we can machmir le Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai is always the more stringent opinion. So to follow Beis Shammai, you have to be at different levels. Until Moshe Mashiach, we're not at that level. Okay.
So the others in the dissenting opinion, if you had some special case, one might be able to use
Right. Exactly. Well, let's see Rashi. Okay, right. Correct. Lema Rav Doma K'Beis Shammai do Rav Chana Kaporach Duki do Beis Hillel B'Shus Rav Masri B'Shus Yosharim Kein do Rav Chana Barav Doma Kol Moku Sheosru Doma K'Beis Shammai B'Tmiya Havari Lo Shav Beis Hillel Vova K'Beis Shammai O Korchel Beis Hillel Afilu B'Shus Rabbin Muter. Therefore, you say Beis Hillel even B'Shus Rabbin is permitted. Shem the Shovcham Mechicholov Di B'Shus Yo Rabbim also B'Shus Yachod Shori Lo Havel Omer Rav O Shmaitz Tanohi Omer Rav Chana Vadi Rav Sova K'Beis Hillel. Yeah, Rav holds like Beis Hillel. I feel we should say Rabbim Shori. Upolag Olai. Upolag Olai. Vano Damri Ki Aitana. I hold like the other one. Domashotchem Bechamod. Leslie Rav. Leslie the Rav. Tana Mukul Beis Hillel Kavose. Lo Itiru El V'Shusay Yochid. Okay, we'll leave this for tomorrow.